The 30 Years' War, a defining conflict in European history. The 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, was one of the most destructive conflicts in European history. It began as a religious struggle within the Holy Roman Empire, but soon expanded into a continent-wide power struggle involving most of the major European powers. Spanning 3 decades, this war reshaped the political and religious landscape of Europe, leading to the decline of the Holy Roman Empire and the rise of modern nation-states. Origins of the war: religious and political struggle. The war had deep roots in the Protestant Reformation and the growing divide between Catholic and Protestant states. The Peace of Augsburg, 1555, had temporarily settled religious disputes by allowing rulers to determine the official faith of their territories, but tensions remained high. The Catholic Habsburg emperors sought to reinforce Catholic dominance, while Protestant rulers resisted this effort. The immediate trigger of the conflict was the defenestration of Prague, 1618, where Protestant nobles threw 2 Catholic officials out of a castle window in Prague. This act symbolized Protestant defiance against Habsburg rule and led to open rebellion in Bohemia, marking the beginning of the war. Phases of the war. The 30 Years' War is traditionally divided into 4 major phases: the Bohemian Revolt, the Danish phase, the Swedish intervention, and the French involvement. 1. The Bohemian Revolt, 1618 to 1625. The war began in Bohemia, where Protestant nobles opposed the Catholic King Ferdinand II. They elected a Protestant king, Frederick V, but Ferdinand, now the Holy Roman Emperor, sought to reclaim Bohemia. The conflict culminated in the Battle of White Mountain, 1620, where imperial forces crushed the Bohemian rebels. This defeat led to the harsh recatholicization of Bohemia and the expansion of Habsburg control. As Ferdinand II consolidated his power, he began enforcing strict Catholic reforms in his territories, expelling Protestant leaders and suppressing non-Catholic religious practices. This period saw large-scale migrations as many Protestants fled to neighboring regions seeking religious freedom. The fear of Catholic expansion grew among Protestant states, leading to the next phase of the war. 2. The Danish phase, 1625 to 1629. Concerned about Catholic expansion, King Christian IV of Denmark, a Protestant ruler, intervened. However, his forces were decisively defeated by Imperial commander Albrecht von Wallenstein at the Battle of Lutter, 1626. The Catholic side gained the upper hand, and the Edict of Restitution, 1629, was issued, which sought to restore Catholic lands that had been seized by Protestants. This edict further inflamed tensions, pushing more Protestant powers into the conflict. Wallenstein, an ambitious general, used his growing power to amass wealth and influence, which made him a controversial figure even among Catholics. His ruthlessness in warfare and political maneuvering made him both feared and admired. His ability to command a large and well-equipped army played a crucial role in maintaining Habsburg dominance during this phase of the war. 3. The Swedish intervention, 1630 to 1635. One of the most dramatic phases of the war came when King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden, a brilliant Protestant military leader, entered the war. He modernized warfare with innovative tactics, mobile artillery, and well-trained troops. His victories at Breitenfeld, 1631, and Lutzen, 1632, shifted momentum in favor of the Protestants. However, Gustavus Adolphus was killed at Lutzen, dealing a blow to the Protestant cause. Despite his death, Sweden remained a major player in the war. Gustavus Adolphus' leadership was instrumental in changing the nature of European warfare. His ability to integrate cavalry, artillery, and infantry into a cohesive fighting force revolutionized military strategy. His presence on the battlefield inspired his troops, and his death was mourned as a great loss for the Protestant movement. However, his legacy continued through his military reforms and Sweden's ongoing role in the war. 4. The French involvement, 1635 to 1648. Initially, Catholic France, under Cardinal Richelieu, had been cautious, but seeing the growing power of the Habsburgs, France joined the Protestant cause against them. This turned the war into a broader political struggle rather than just a religious one. French forces fought alongside Swedish and Dutch allies, dealing significant blows to the Habsburgs. The war dragged on with battles across Germany, the Netherlands, and even parts of Spain and Italy. The devastation of Central Europe was immense, with entire regions depopulated due to war, famine, and disease. By the late 1640s, exhaustion had set in among all participants. The financial strain on European states was enormous, and there was a growing desire for peace. Negotiations began in Westphalia, eventually leading to the formal conclusion of the war. The Peace of Westphalia, 1648, and its impact. After 3 decades of bloodshed, all sides were exhausted, leading to the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. This treaty had several key outcomes. Religious freedom. It reaffirmed the principle of cuius regio, ius religio. The ruler's religion determines the state's religion, but also granted limited freedoms to religious minorities. Independence of nations. Switzerland and the Dutch Republic were recognized as fully independent states. Decline of the Holy Roman Empire. The empire's authority weakened, paving the way for the rise of Prussia and Austria as powerful German states. France's rise. France emerged as the dominant power in Europe, while Spain's influence declined. Legacy of the 30 Years' War. The war had profound effects on European history. Massive population loss. It is estimated that 4 to 8 million people died, making it one of the deadliest conflicts before the 20th century. New warfare tactics. The war led to the professionalization of armies and changes in military strategy. Rise of nation-states. The Peace of Westphalia marked the beginning of the modern state system, where sovereignty became a key principle. Economic and social disruptions. The war left much of Germany in ruins, with widespread famine, disease, and destruction of infrastructure. The rebuilding process took decades, altering economic structures and trade networks across Europe. Conclusion. The 30 Years' War was more than just a religious conflict. It was a battle for power, sovereignty, and survival. It changed Europe's political landscape forever, shaping the future of warfare and diplomacy. Even today, the war's legacy can be seen in the balance of power that governs international relations. Would Europe have evolved differently without the 30 Years' War? That remains one of history's greatest questions.